Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, I made a dude get his nuts waxed on the first date after he lied to me. I've been secretly fattening up two coworkers for talking shit about a friend of mine. My BIL tried to get me fired, so I ruined his wedding photos. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I made a dude get his nuts waxed on the first date after he lied to me. When I was in my early 20s and online dating was just starting, I made a profile and said I was just not going to be into two things: smokers and people with kids. Just that. You could be anything else, and if the chemistry is there, we are all good. I meet this guy early in the morning for a breakfast date and we are hitting it off averagely. No sparks, but no red flags. The date goes for 2.5 hours, breakfast taking forever, until we are splitting the bill and he tells me he has a kid. I ask him if he read my profile to know that I was not interested in that, and he says yes, I read that but knew that if you just spent some time with me, you'd see how great I am and how you'd be willing to see past that. I was floored, as now he wasted 3 hours of my life and was okay with being a liar. That was unacceptable to me. I said, well, I don't want this date to end, but I have to go across town to get my Brazilian, where they take all the hair off including the bum hole, done in an hour. Want to come with me and get one too? It's not painful, a total lie, and I think it's attractive on men to be clean there. No pressure, but I'm pretty busy the rest of the week and this is my only free day. He was all about following me anywhere. I told the ladies that this was his first time and that they should take everything including the butt. He held my hand between a curtain and we both got them done at the same time. He screamed a lot but was a champ and went through with it. I made him pay for his own and never called him again. If you are out there, Chris, please don't lie to women on the first date. It's a really bad way to start a relationship. Not all heroes have carpet. This comment deserves a red carpet. Does the carpet match the capes? You told me it wouldn't hurt. Yes, but I knew that if you just spent some time on it, you'd be able to see past that. I once made a guy get his nipple pierced on the first date. I once had a first date just after ripping my nipple ring out in a sailing mishap. Bandage was a little awkward. Date went well. The amount of times a smoker would hit on me online, despite having a big no smokers in my profile. Once you learn they smoke, they will hit you with the "but I won't smoke when I am with you." That's not the point. I've been secretly fattening up two coworkers for talking shit about a friend of mine. I've known my friend since high school, I'll call him Bob. We're both in our 40s now and ended up briefly working for the same company, but different locations. Sometimes employees travel to different locations for training and whatnot, and a little over a year ago, my buddy ended up here for a half day of training. My friend has a lisp, he's self-conscious about it, was teased in high school and it's affected his self-image and self-esteem. The guy is all heart and really is a cool guy if you get to know him. He's a bit overweight and pretty self-conscious about that too. I wasn't here the day Bob came to train, but the next day I went to the front office with two of the secretaries to say good morning like always. We had a good rapport, and they were talking with a fake lisp and absolutely cracking up like it was the funniest thing in the world. I knew my friend was here, but asked them anyway what the lisp was about. The two assholes didn't know Bob was one of my oldest friends. They could barely keep a straight face about how the guy from the other place sounded like a loser who would probably never find a woman. He looked greasy, he was fat. Can you imagine what he would sound like in bed, lisping and sweating? Ha ha ha. Shit like that. I was pissed, but kept a good poker face. Kinda chuckled and said something to the effect of, "You guys are terrible." They seemed proud of themselves. These two assholes have a sweet tooth. For the last year, I have relentlessly been bringing them donuts, chocolates, Starbucks drinks with so much sugar they could give an elephant diabetes, ice cream cakes, candy, anything that is calorie dense and sweet. It's not hard to make them eat. I just say stupid cliché funny stuff like diet starts tomorrow, or if you take small bites, there's fewer calories. They laugh and eat. No joke, they have gained about 40 pounds apiece and now complain about shit like finding clothes and being tired all the time. One of them was spilling her guts to the other about her husband not wanting to sleep with her anymore. Bob never found out about what they said. He left the company for greener pastures shortly after that incident. He's doing good. I have no intention of stopping. Well played, Petty Crocker, well played. You're my hero. I wish to be friends with you on that comment alone. Protect Bob at all costs. I like your self-control and diabolical nature. Truly what this sub is all about. Pettiness for the greater good. The Robin Hood of pettiness, if you will. Destroying them by exploiting character flaws they make fun of others for. You've been deputized by Lady Karma. I hope we'll get an update on when the first one explodes. Should we start placing bets? I don't think karma exists as a universal force. We make karma happen. Like this. This is delicious. Delicious, delicious pettiness. Revenge is a dish best served sweet. Give them an energy drink every morning for a month, and then stop. Give some bullshit excuse that you had stock you needed to get rid of. See them crash for a week or two trying to eat/drink their way out of it. I get super pissed when people make fun of others like this. This sub has shown me how easy it is to play the long game for sweet revenge. My BIL tried to get me fired, so I ruined his wedding photos. This actually happened about 4 years ago. At the time I was married to my now ex-wife. Her sister Alice was getting married to Roger. But let's backtrack a bit so I can set the scene. It's a bit long, but bear with me, friends. I'd had a storied past with Roger and we did not care for each other in the least, to put it mildly. He is, a compulsive liar, mooch, and cheat, and had pretty much alienated Alice from most of her friends and family. He and I had a falling out over all this where I called him out on all his BS. In revenge, he said a lot of really horrible lies about me to the family and had done his best to try and get me fired from my job as well as some other things I can't discuss. Really evil shit. As a result, we had to pay a lawyer to send him a cease and desist letter and we went in see with either of them. I wouldn't even be in the same building with him, for any reason, including birthdays, Christmas, etc. After a few years, I was still in see with either of them. My wife would talk to her sister occasionally, which didn't really bother me, but I came under a lot of pressure from my in-laws to normalize things somewhat. You know, for the good of the family. Now, I got along great with my in-laws and it was really important to them, so I gave it a shot. I would basically be at an event with them but wouldn't socialize or engage with either of them. A few months later, they announced their engagement and began planning the wedding. My wife was to be MOH and our kids, 6 and 4, would be flower girl and ring bearer. Now, I was absolutely not in the wedding party, this you must understand, and I was perfectly okay with that. As the planning continues, I get word that Roger would like to buy me a suit as his way of making amends, and so I wouldn't have to pack a suit of my own. I had plenty of suits, so this was a really odd request, but he comes from some money and said it was his way of trying to make amends for all the BS in the past. Whatever, fine, I'll go alone. I sent my measurements over along with my sons for the wedding planner. The wedding was in a different state, so I wouldn't be able to see the suit until we picked it up a day before the wedding. This concerned me along with his insistence that I wouldn't have to bring a suit, so I packed my own suit as well, a nice charcoal gray two-piece with white shirt and blue tie. We fly into the state, check into our hotel, and I head to the haberdasher to pick up the suits along with my son and FAL, also not in the wedding party but also getting a suit. Turns out Roger hadn't bought us suits but had actually rented us the same cream-colored tuxedos as his side of the wedding party. basically trying to dress us up like the groomsmen despite not being in the wedding. I immediately saw why he didn't want me to pack a suit and had a good laugh at it, but said nothing and let him think he got over on me. My wife also found this quite hilarious, and there we formulated our plan. The day of the wedding, everyone got dolled up in their wedding kits, champagne dresses and cream tuxedos, and me, in my charcoal gray suit. When Roger saw me, he was cordial but looked a bit irked. I found out through the grapevine he was absolutely livid I didn't wear the tux. Which, frankly, made my day. Now, for the absolute best part, and cue the petty revenge, the pictures. Because I was close family, I was included in a lot of pictures by default, but my wife, bless her heart, made a point of pulling me into almost every picture she was able to. When the pictures came back, it was amazing. In at least 60% of the pictures, I was in there somewhere and stood out like a sore thumb. 8 to 10 people all dressed the same in cream and white, and me, in my almost black suit. Alice was so beyond pissed she had a near meltdown and insisted that everyone get together to retake the pictures the right way, which of course didn't happen as this was 3 months after the wedding. So, yeah. Enjoy your wedding album with its almost perfect color scheme and coordination. Edit, since everyone wants to K-on why we split up, it wasn't related to this. She had some untreated mental illness and infidelity issues that made an ongoing union untenable. Cream-colored tuxedo. My poor kid looked like a lawn jockey. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this story seems a little off color. I can almost picture it. It's so funny reading your pre-wedding setup. It's just so obvious that he's trying to stage manage the scene, and that he's brewing up a plan that, in his own mind, nobody will ever be able to figure out. Too smart by half, as my dear grandmother would say. My dear grandmother, dead now, used to say that too. I never realized it was an insult until now. Being a math brain, I thought it meant 150% smart. Good one, Granny. So good. I was afraid you weren't going to bring a suit with you. Phew. It would be fair to say I am occasionally dumb. But I ain't stupid. Glad you did bring a suit with you, but, you know, it would have been poetic if you had brought a suit with you comprised of wonderfully comfortable jeans and a Black Sabbath t-shirt with a very wonderful, goes with everything type jacket, a red doeskin, or lumberman shirt. It buttons up the front and would be a fine accent jacket. Man, they sound like a real piece of work. I'm surprised they did try and sue you, lol. How could they? Roger took his own L from a gold-plated platter the minute he insisted he buy OP a suit while knowing full well it's a rental. What's he gonna do? Sue for the rental cost? Aight, Roger. Here's the check for $125. The thing that strikes me is that Roger didn't just say, hey, we're going for a matching color scheme and are providing the suits. If he'd done that and OP pulled their move, they could have portrayed themselves the wounded party. What was the goal, exactly? Make the wedding party look bigger than it was? I get you guys had a bad history, but I don't really get how trying to include you in coordinating with the family/bridal party was an insult to you. Kind of seems like it was an olive branch that you purposely threw back in their faces. Maybe I'm missing something. Because he never actually tried to have any kind of conversation with me about this. He never tried to make amends for any of the really awful things he had done or said in regards to me. He didn't even try to clear the air. He certainly didn't try to discuss like me dressing like the wedding party without being in it. He essentially tried to trick me into dressing up like wanted by getting me to not bring my own suit. I thought you were going to say it was some hideous purple velvet suit or something. Good thing you brought an extra, just in case. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.